Good Monday. It is January 13th, right at 7:30. Hope you're all having a good start to your day. Of course, last week all the talk was the winter storm that was coming in to the picture on Friday. Well, now it's more about the quiet, calm weather that we're going to be dealing with much of the week. Temperatures today going to be in the 40s, so a lot of the snow that's still hanging around it's probably going to hang around a little bit longer in the shady spots, but we're going to start to eat away at it each day. And it does look like a lot of that, especially that's getting hit by the sun constantly, is going to be out of here. So the wintry scenes here across the Tennessee Valley going to start to wrap up over the next couple of days. But hope you all got to enjoy the snow. Got 4 inches at my home in Red Bank. Many of you picking up 3 to 6. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you don't enjoy the cold and snowy weather, we are going to have some warmer weather moving back in as we continue through the week. So lows tonight going to be back in the teens and 20s, 16 in Altamont, 15 in Dayton, 22 in Dalton. So anything that melts today could refreeze tonight. I think a lot of the primary roadways are still going to look really good. But again, some of those sidewalks and shady areas, get any of that melting, could refreeze. So some of those secondary, tertiary roads still going to be pretty bad as we wake up tomorrow morning or tonight if you're heading out to work. So if you live in any mountain or plateau community, Metro Mountains, Lookout Signal, up through Cagle Mountain, you still probably will have some of those issues. So it's just something to kind of be mindful of. Now looking ahead to Saturday, because there's really not a lot to show you between now and then. We're just going to have some sunshine, temperatures anywhere from the mid 40s to lower 50s. But then as we take a look at your storm tracker, we're going to have changes coming down the pipeline. So again, it is going to warm up nicely for the rest of the week. You need to get any yard work kind of wrapped up. If you're picking up from some of the slop left behind from the snow, go ahead and do that this week, because by the time we get into your Saturday, especially morning into the afternoon, we're going to be tracking another front. This is going to bring some rain showers to much of the southeast, including the Tennessee Valley, going into your Saturday. Not going to be a complete washout, but certainly could impact those outdoor plans on Saturday. And in most areas probably pick up a half of an inch. Really not seeing a whole lot of instability with this. I doubt we have any thunder or severe potential. If there is any severe threat, it's going to be along the Gulf Coast moving into Saturday. But on the backside of this, we're going to have another intrusion of Arctic air starting to move in. And on Sunday morning, again, this is one depiction, there could be a little bit of snow on the back end of this. I'm thinking it's going to favor the Cumberland Plateau and some of our mountain communities. It looks to be more of a mountain event and light at that. But it is something worth noting. There could be a little bit of snow by the time we get into your Sunday. But the period I'm really more interested in is going to be between next Monday and probably the middle of the week. There are signals that we could have potentially more winter weather across the southeast. Now, pretty low in chance, but the pattern is going to be favorable, so that's something that we have to keep in mind. But for the short term, like I mentioned, it's going to be nice and calm. So here's what I'm talking about. The Arctic air comes back in, moving into early next week. So beginning Sunday, you're going to notice the temperature starting to fall off again. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, all going to be very cold. We're going to have what's called cross-polar flow setting up, so that cold air from Canada and parts of Alaska finally going to start to pull down into the lower 48. And beginning Monday morning, it is going to be bone-chilling cold. We're talking below zero across the northern plains into parts of the Rocky Mountains. That cold air is going to start to surge to the south moving into the middle of the week. How far south does it get and how strong it's going to be is a little uncertain. There's been people all over the internet saying this is probably the strongest or the coldest air we've had so far this year. Yeah, we'll see. It's still a week out. So sometimes as these cold air masses move south, they moderate or warm as they get into our area. So might be some of the coldest air we've had this year. I mean, it likely will. We're only 13 days into the year, but it's something worth noting for sure, because there are signs that temperatures could be 20, 30 degrees below normal across a pretty good chunk of the country. So of course, that'll be something we watch pretty closely. For your next 7 days, again, I don't have a 10-day forecast, so I can't show you the highs for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, likely to be down in the 30s. This week, a little bit chilly through Wednesday, and then I think 50 this time of the year. 50 is pretty warm. I mean, really, when you get the sunshine, 53, can't beat that for January. So through Saturday, we're going to be pretty mild, especially Thursday through Saturday. Sunday, again, when that cold air starts to move back in, overnight lows generally going to be below freezing. So here's the time period that I'm watching for maybe some winter weather potential. not a high risk. Right now, the pattern is just starting to come together, similar to what we were watching probably in the first week or first couple days of January. Like, okay, the pattern's going to be favorable moving into the 9th through the 12th. And it turned out that we did have a winter storm move across the southern part of the country, and the week before that across the Ohio Valley. So it's not unusual for us to have cross-country winter storms developing this time of the year. It's very common. You get an active storm track, you get cold air, somebody's going to get winter weather. It could be us again. It may be further to the north. It may even be further to the south. But we're going to have that Arctic air in place once again, and the storm track is going to be active here across much of the southern part of the country. So we're going to have that moisture coming in to some of that cold air, and typically that sets for a favorable pattern for winter weather. Where exactly that develops, it's still too early to iron out those specific details. And let me go ahead and put out a word of caution. Yesterday, we had a European run. It's a deterministic run that put out upwards of a foot of snow across parts of the Carolinas, central Georgia, a big ice storm across central Florida. That's not going to happen. It's just not. I don't know why people post those things. It doesn't make any sense to me, but they do, and you will see it. And I can assure you that you're not going to see a foot of snow in Columbia, South Carolina, moving into next week. So could someone? Yeah, it's possible. But just some of these things that are posted online, they're careless, and I think that they create alarmism in the weather community. So just be wary of what you post. I'm always going to say that, always will. I think it's better to take an ensemble approach, which gives us a more realistic idea of what could happen, and it shows us the signals there. This is just, so this is the GFS, and I've talked about this before. It's essentially multiple runs of the GFS with different starting conditions, and they have these deep equations they put in, numbers and this and that for your GFS, your European models, and then they start to run and they start to come to a conclusion of what things may be like in the environment moving into the week and a half time frame. But I can assure you, anything showing up over 6-7 days is going to be wildly inconsistent and a lot of times inaccurate. So just be careful with that. But here's a look at your probability of 1 inch of snowfall for your GFS ensemble mean. This is through Wednesday morning, the 22nd, so still about 9 days out. Giving parts of the southeast, similar to this last winter storm, at least a chance of seeing 1 inch of snow. It's only about a 10 to 20% chance. You can see that scale there at the bottom of that happening across North Georgia, upstate South Carolina, and southeast Tennessee. So not a high chance, but we're starting to see signals that it's a possibility. And then if we look at your European, it's about the same, so about a 10 to 20% chance. Not a high risk, but we're starting to have the signs coming together that, hey, there may be, winter weather at some point early next week. Like I mentioned, I would not expect to see another good snow. Is it a possibility? Yes, of course. We're going to have the pattern that's favorable, but we still have to work out a lot of things. Where is the storm going to be? Is there one that's even going to develop? Because if the Arctic air comes down too far to the south, a lot of times it will suppress the storm track, which essentially will put the low pressure forming way into the open waters of the Atlantic and really not giving too much precipitation for the lower 48, except for maybe the Florida Peninsula, and that's just going to be rain because it's going to be warm that far south. With that being said, we're just looking at signals now that there could be some more winter weather coming down the pipeline moving into early next week. So here's where we're at in all of this. Our winter weather guide is just showing us pattern recognition. Our conditions favorable. 8 to 10 days out. Not a lot of skill 8 to 10 days out. We can kind of get an idea of what may happen, but there's going to be fine details that are resolved a little bit sooner, well, as we get a little bit closer to time, I should say. So that's what we're looking at as of now. I wouldn't expect to see snow yet. We'll keep an eye on this, and of course, as we get into your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we get closer to next week, we get a better idea of, there's going to be a storm. It may bring winter weather to the south, or it may trend the opposite direction where, hey, it's just going to be cold and dry. And a lot of times when we have these really strong Arctic air masses, that's the case. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're just dealing with cold, dry conditions. But, it is going to be something worth watching, and of course, as we get a better idea, I'll let you know. And I know some of you are probably tired of the cold. It's been a cold January. We're about 6 degrees below normal here at Chattanooga officially. But, I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll let you guys know, similar to what we had last week. Snow will probably stick around a couple more days in the shady spots, but look at that, 51 by Thursday. And I don't know about you, but I am ready for a nice day of sunshine and mild temperatures. Same for Friday, only a slim chance of rain. And then Saturday, we'll have about a 60% chance of some showers on and off throughout the day, highs of 56. Sunday, temperatures start to crash back down. Could have a little bit of wintry weather. I think it'll favor the plateau and some of our mountain communities. But next week, of course, is kind of going to be the time frame that I start to watch for maybe another winter weather threat. But in the short term, we're going to have some really nice weather, so get out there and enjoy it today, tomorrow, especially the end of the week when it starts to warm up. It's going to be great just to be outside and enjoy some of this nice January weather. So like I mentioned earlier, if anything drastic changes, I'll let you know. I'm going to try to do a video update every day. That's my new goal, kind of moving into the year, especially during the weekdays, the weekends, if I think it's necessary. That way we can get things going and we can always have something to talk about and keep you guys informed. And if you have any content that you would like to see from me or any different, weather charts or weather maps, just let me know. I'll try to stick those in and get a good look at what's coming our way. But now I'm just rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and log off of here. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you soon.